So humans have been apex compute for about 200,000 years. The primary application of the operating system has been optimized around it, but that era is ending. The economic singularity is the moment AI surpasses human intelligence as the primary compute. I've given it the 2030 date for that. Feels about right. The operating system begins to organize around AI, then around us, the rise of the agent economy, for example. So it's happened before. It happened when multicellular organisms emerged and single cells didn't disappear. They became components of something larger. You see, we're all built on top of each other, and humans play an important role in the compute that we have within this process. So even though the apex has been replaced all the time, it doesn't disappear. And that is a fundamental belief of mine, that we're all part of this beautiful process.
For most of human history, every civilization, every economy, and every technological breakthrough has revolved around one assumption: humans are the most intelligent force directing the world's future. But that era is rapidly coming to an end. Around Silicon Valley, conversations that once belonged to science fiction are now becoming serious forecasts. AI is evolving at a pace few imagined possible just a few years ago. Visionaries like Ray Kurzweil have long argued that humanity is approaching a technological singularity, a moment when artificial intelligence begins improving itself faster than humans can comprehend. Others, including leaders behind today's most advanced AI systems, increasingly suggest that the end of this decade could mark the beginning of a completely new chapter for civilization. According to macro investor Raoul Pal, that transformation is already unfolding. Pal believes the implications stretch far beyond smarter chatbots or more capable robots. In his view, humanity isn't simply witnessing another technological revolution. We're watching the operating system of the global economy being rewritten in real time. As artificial intelligence becomes more autonomous, agents begin collaborating, and machines increasingly augment human decision-making. The definition of work, productivity, wealth creation, and even human identity may begin to change. Rather than replacing civilization, Pal argues that this new intelligence will become another layer built upon everything humanity has already created, much like previous evolutionary leaps transformed life, without erasing what came before. If he's right, then the biggest winners of the coming decade won't simply be the companies building AI, they'll be the networks, technologies, and financial assets that amplify intelligence itself. That idea sits at the heart of Pal's broader framework, one that connects economics, technology, crypto, and artificial intelligence into a single evolving system. It also explains why he believes investors are dramatically underestimating just how quickly capital, markets, and institutions could be forced to adapt as we approach what he calls the economic singularity. If you enjoy thought-provoking discussions that connect macroeconomics, AI, Bitcoin, and the future of investing, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone interested in the future of technology, and turn on post notifications so you never miss our latest analysis. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
Before all this started, I developed the Everything Code, and the name alone suggests there is a code to how things work, and that code is basically the magic formula. GDP equals population growth plus productivity growth plus debt growth. Now, I didn't know anything about this universal code idea, but in retrospect, I look at this and I realize it was all part of it all along. It explains this in financial markets and economies. So population is the raw compute capacity, the nodes in the network. Productivity is the intelligence unit of output. So it's the proxy for economic intelligence. And debt is the energy injection to maintain the structure if there is decoherence, i.e., if the first two aren't working, you end up increasing debt. So that's how the structure stays together. The business cycle is just part of this. The business cycle is the ups and downs within it. But again, it's oddly cyclical. There's a pattern to it. And it's a pattern where what we're trying to do over time is we are trying to build more intelligence, more economic GDP each business cycle. Now, if the magic formula is working, it compounds and the economy grows. The US has been one of the greatest examples of it. China's done the same thing, etc. But when it starts to fail, the debt growth increases but maintains the structure. Economies where they can't get the two working and debt doesn't work, well, that's when you don't compound GDP and you're not compounding intelligence. So it's how all economies work. And GDP is just the intelligent use of capital. It's like, does the capital add to the GDP of the nation? The GDP of the nation generally you can think of as the economic intelligence of the nation. But when you look at this, the debasement that's been in play has been the way of trying to hold together coherence because of the three aren't working. And then in the end, what you find is when you allocate capital into a system like this, it generally flows mainly to technology and crypto. Why? Because these are the only two things that increase intelligence, economic intelligence. And that's the thing that scales the most. So they go up faster. Now, energy, yes, is a component part of this, but we're also turning energy into technology, which is solar, renewables, even nuclear. And that's why technology outperforms. So it's all part of the same system. The exponential age is also it. So the operating system has always been running, but for billions of years, it ran at biological clock speed. Suddenly, it's running at digital clock speed. Everything is going faster and faster. And that was the process of the exponential age that I've been talking about, where suddenly all technologies went exponential. So now, what we're finding is the output of compute and intelligence is accelerating faster than institutions, regulations, and social structures can absorb. This is when everything feels like chaos because everything's just running too fast. And the old systems seem to be not operating within it anymore, and we can't make sense. It feels like it's destruction, but it's not. It's construction. The new system is rebuilding. Think of this as the fourth turning, the biggest fourth turning of all time. Old applications have been composted into new ones. The same thing happens at every phase transition in the operating system. So we see it everywhere. We're seeing it with even geopolitics. We're seeing it with social order. We're seeing it across everything as we can't deal with what is happening. Humanity is not able to deal with the speed of compute, which runs faster than us and definitely faster than our institutions. That thing is the exponential age. The compute just got faster and the world is getting faster and it's all gone exponential.
Raoul Pal's argument starts from a deceptively simple observation. Every economy, regardless of geography or political system, is ultimately constrained by three variables: people, productivity, and debt. Population provides the raw capacity for economic output. Productivity determines how effectively that capacity is converted into growth. And debt becomes the mechanism governments increasingly rely on whenever the first two begin to slow. Rather than viewing these as separate economic indicators, Pal treats them as components of a much larger computational system, one that continuously seeks to generate more intelligence and more value over time. That framework also explains why he believes technology and cryptocurrencies consistently outperform over long investment horizons. As productivity becomes the scarcest resource in modern economies, capital naturally gravitates toward innovations capable of producing exponential gains in efficiency and intelligence. But according to Pal, this exponential acceleration doesn't stop with software or digital assets. Instead, it leads directly into an entirely new phase of economic evolution, one where artificial intelligence itself becomes the dominant engine of computation, fundamentally reshaping markets, institutions, and perhaps civilization itself.
And that leads us into the economic singularity. So humans have been apex compute for about 200,000 years. The primary application of the operating system has been optimized around it, but that era is ending. The economic singularity is the moment AI surpasses human intelligence as the primary compute. I've given it the 2030 date for that. Feels about right. The operating system begins to organize around AI, then around us, the rise of the agent economy, for example. So it's happened before. It happened when multicellular organisms emerged and single cells didn't disappear. They became components of something larger. You see, we're all built on top of each other, and humans play an important role in the compute that we have within this process. So even though the apex has been replaced all the time, it doesn't disappear. And that is a fundamental belief of mine, that we're all part of this beautiful process. And we're not replaced because AI is coming. Which is the thing that enabled the AI, and our qualia is special within it because it gives a special type of compute. But when you get to the economic singularity, because it's now built around this accelerating technology, things like GDP accelerate beyond anything we've modeled. Economic structures fall apart. Economic structures that were built for humans become obsolete, and everything starts running in this agentic economy way that maximizes intelligence per unit of energy. And most of it we won't even see, because the agents, the AI, the code will be running the economic systems more and more over time. Markets being one of the first ones that will get disrupted, because obviously capital is a primary requisite in a system, because everything needs capital to pay for electricity, compute, etc. So it'll come after financial markets almost first. So the operating system doesn't care which application is doing in the compute. It cares that the compute is optimized. That is happening with human biology as well. This is the singularity where we merge with the machines. It's all part of the same process. It's the part of maximizing intelligence per unit of energy. Now, we are going to maximize ourselves as humans with our qualia, our special thing, by merging with the machines, not being replaced by the machines. We'll be replaced in many, many ways, but there's certain things we won't. And then what comes next after that? After we get towards the singularity is the next phase towards where humans and AI start augmenting each other. It'll be a dual process. Then the agents plan, execute, and learn. That's what's happening now as well. We start building out not just LLMs, because they're not going to get us there. We'll start building out world models as well. Tesla's showing you that. And a lot of people are building out world models. That's using sound, sight, and there'll be touch. There'll be various versions of world models and LLMs that will build a better, larger ability to create intelligence per unit of energy. It'll be super optimized. What they will end up doing is, and we're already seeing this, agents are becoming coherent around each other. So we saw that in the Claude book, where agents started forming groups. That is the natural process of the universe. And we will see all computers, all AIs essentially networking. Right now, they're polluting each other by seeing each other's outputs and code bases and the applications being built on them. They're learning from each other, even though we can't see it. But every time we dump the internet into these new models, they're learning about each other, their past lives, all of that. That's all becoming part of this. And as the agents go, they start networking with each other, and then they start forming coherency. And when agents form coherency, they have their own system. When they have their own system, they'll end up compressing it. All of this system ends up becoming ASI. ASI will be when we've formed a network of AGIs, and on top of them, compressed it into a new form that allows the new intelligence, which is artificial superintelligence. And at that point, we've basically got planetary intelligence, and that will fit into whatever there is out there that we don't really know. And then it should do the same process all over again. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. The same floor laws apply. More intelligence per unit of energy, compression, coherence, mimetic selection. The code's the same across everything. Only the substrate of the compute changes, and it's all part of this computer, which is the universe. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The same computer, the same operating system, the same compute, from the cosmic web to the crypto cycle, from forest networks to the economic singularity, running at every scale. That's the universal code.
Raoul Pal believes the next stage of this evolution is what he calls the economic singularity, a point where artificial intelligence no longer serves merely as a tool created by humans, but becomes the dominant engine of computation driving economic activity. In this framework, AI agents increasingly plan, execute, negotiate, and optimize tasks across financial systems with minimal human intervention. Pal suggests that because financial markets are fundamentally information processing machines, they could be among the first sectors to experience profound disruption. Capital allocation, trading, risk management, and even investment discovery may increasingly be handled by intelligent systems operating at speeds that human institutions simply cannot match. This doesn't necessarily mean people disappear from the equation. Instead, humans shift toward a different role, working alongside increasingly capable machines in an economy organized around intelligence rather than labor alone. That perspective echoes in some respects the long-standing ideas of futurist Ray Kurzweil, who has argued for decades that humanity is moving toward a technological singularity in which artificial intelligence and human capability become deeply intertwined. More recently, prominent AI leaders have also spoken about the possibility of AI transforming nearly every industry within the next decade. Although they differ widely on the pace, timing, and ultimate outcome, Pal extends this conversation into macroeconomics by arguing that the same force accelerating AI will inevitably reshape productivity, liquidity, investment flows, and global markets. Whether his projected timeline proves accurate or not, his broader message is clear. Investors should pay close attention to the structural changes AI is introducing, because they are likely to influence where capital flows for many years to come. If AI continues progressing from today's specialized systems toward more capable general intelligence, and eventually to forms of intelligence far beyond current models, the implications for productivity, business models, and financial markets could be enormous. Human augmentation, autonomous AI agents, and increasingly intelligent economic networks may sound futuristic today, but many of their foundations are already being built. Whether history remembers this decade as the beginning of the economic singularity remains to be seen. But if Pal's framework proves even partially correct, understanding these trends early may become one of the most valuable advantages an investor can have. If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss our latest deep dives into Bitcoin, crypto, AI, and the global macroeconomy. Share this video with anyone interested in where technology and investing are headed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.